The rumor is that I am a neo-Nazi.
If we were to describe the anatomy of the 21st century neo-Nazi phenomenon, it's a rough assemblage of mutually incompatible parts held together by ligatures of ignorance. And in fact, listening to both FullyRawKristina and John Rose, you get a good sense of what those crucial joints, those crucial turning points of ignorance really are, why they matter so much to recruitment, and why they matter so much for keeping people within that movement. Yes, ignorance about economics, ignorance about pesticides, ignorance about food additives, ignorance about nutrition, and yes, just in general, ignorance about government with a capital letter G. John Rose, in reaching out for sources like the Zeitgeist movement, he names his sources. He tells you what he's working from, and those are the sources his audience is already familiar with. Those are the steps they've already taken before they come to his channel, before they're willing to listen to his more shocking revelations about Adolf Hitler and the history of World War II and so on. And FullyRawKristina herself, wittingly or unwittingly, has served for many years as one of those crucial baby steps towards outright neo-Nazi recruitment here on the internet. I think what makes John Rose interesting as a case study is that he does so overtly explain to you what his motivations and modus operandi are. He tells you why he's on YouTube, why he feels it's so important for him to be recruiting on YouTube, for him to be delivering this message on YouTube that he couldn't get across anywhere else, and how he feels that the whole medical establishment and all the university textbooks and all the history textbooks and all the high schools are part of this huge conspiracy that you and I alone are very privileged to be able to breathe outside of for just a few minutes on this island of freedom of speech here on YouTube. And what makes FullyRawKristina interesting, by contrast, is that she is in complete denial about all of the things that John Rose makes so brutally self-evident.
The rumor is that I am a neo-Nazi.
FullyRawKristina has over 1 million subscribers. She runs a raw, vegan, quote-unquote, channel, and she's made 2 separate videos promoting John Rose. And I believe John Rose has deleted some of these videos off of his channel, but if you just search for Jew in his channel search bar, you'll still find that he has some pro-Nazi, anti-Semitic propaganda videos where he promotes people like Henry Ford, who was a huge anti-Semite and Hitler supporter. And what's most disturbing about this is the like-dislike ratio on some of these videos. The guy runs a raw, vegan channel, but when he promotes anti-Semitism, he gets an overwhelmingly positive response, and other raw vegan channels support his content. FullyRawKristina has over 1 million subscribers. She runs a raw, vegan, quote-unquote, channel, and she's made 2 separate videos promoting John Rose.
So let's start here. Let's start with the most prominent thing being discussed. It is being talked about online as well as at live events, which is somewhat terrifying for me, to be honest. But the rumor is that I am a neo-Nazi. And I would just like to say this. Please hear me when I say I am absolutely not a neo-Nazi. That being said, I do know people who I have interviewed on my channel in the past who've recently come out to talk about their beliefs regarding this. That is a subject that I had never spoken about with them, nor have I ever discussed that topic on my channel. This might be their belief system. It is not mine.
The classic example is what happened with Hitler. Now, what happened to Hitler is he was demonized because he did exactly the same thing that Abraham Lincoln did. Are you paying attention? And also John F. Kennedy. You see, these guys understood how usury works. And if you just Google Japan and usury, you'll find interesting articles about how Japan did the same thing as Germany. They broke away from the powers that be. They started printing their own money, which is what Abraham Lincoln did and John F. Kennedy did. I had a 150-page file on Hitler, and it was all bad Hitler, bad Hitler, bad Hitler. People say he's a vegetarian. Oh my God, no, he can't be a vegetarian. He did all these bad things. And it turned out that he was a vegetarian and he didn't do the bad things. That's how we've been tricked and fooled. In fact, Hitler wanted to make Germany a vegetarian country after the war because he saw the superiority of it. In fact, when he had his work camps, which has been falsely claimed concentration camps, he fed these people the best food possible. Read the garrison command orders, and do a Google search on that, and what you're going to find is that they went out of their way to feed these workers that were making ammunition for them. They treated them very well because they wanted them to be in best health possible. They gave them 3 foot inspections every week. Oh my God, they're gassing them. No, they're taking care of them. They feed them special food, plant food. They even talked about using certain herbs and not cooking them too much. Do you hear what I'm saying? They even said that. In fact, Hitler he understood the importance of having this work camp produce the ammunition for the country. He treated these people as best as he could, even though they betrayed him. They had theaters to go to, they had a swimming pool, they issued money. When you look into this, you realize, well, wait a second, that goes against everything we see. What about the pictures we've seen? Well, it turns out that they actually rebuilt the building. It's a reconstruction. Fred Lucher went over there to prove everything that it was doing that, and he said it's impossible for this building to have done what they claimed it done. It's just impossible, and he's a world's expert on that. You see, when they made up these lies a long time ago, they didn't know they have an expert that could come along later and go, this is bullshit, man, it's bullshit. Google Fred Lucher and just read a little bit about what he says about the gas chambers. It's all bullshit. When you even try to push the numbers to this, you realize that the numbers don't add up in every which way possible. So the reason why this is all done is because we want to associate Hitler with evil demon people, to not look at what he might have done that's good. I'll never forget when I saw Kristina Bukaram, FullyRawKristina, and the first day I saw her, she was right where I needed to be to get some nuts. And I walked up and I was getting my nuts, and I looked over at her and I almost broke out in tears, because I could tell this is a very young woman, and 5'7", didn't weigh 90 pounds, and I had to say something to her, and I reached out to her. And luckily that was the worst day of her life, where she had to go back to the hospital twice, and was willing to listen to me. And I'll never forget, we met at Whole Foods, and I told her what to do to get it going. We talked every day for about 5 months. That little girl asked me more questions than anybody I've ever coached over a course of 5 months. And look what she's done. A teacher affects eternity. You want to wake up and have some passion, get out there and look for little Kristinas that can go out there and tell other people. One person can make a huge difference. And you can be the person. All of us are. That's what we're supposed to do. This is the hero's journey. Because I've been trying to put the connection out. I've been trying to put this message out for a long time. Everybody who does this for a long time knows what's going on. Why do you think T.C. Fry switched his wellness messenger to the Freedom Networker? Because when he did his research on the AIDS, he realized the corruption.
And I'm very, very excited today about my very special guest, Dr. T.C. Fry, President, Life Science Institute, Austin, Texas. Today, Dr. Fry and I have been discussing his new book, The Great AIDS Hoax. Great AIDS Hoax. Is that about right?
That is correct.
You're going to be very, very shocked by some things that Dr. Fry says. You're going to be very educated by other things that he says. And you're going to be very, very interested, I think, in this portion of our discussion.
Not everyone can distinguish truth versus agenda or even propaganda.
And that there's a reason why he was struggling getting this message out, not to mention he was attacked by the government. Herbert Shelton said the same thing about the greatest obstacle we have against living reform is not just ignorance, which we got plenty, it's those damn bastards that run everything that don't give us an avenue to put the information out there. We got an avenue now. We got YouTube. We can get this message out.
As beings of light, we don't have to run from darkness. We can choose to outshine it.
Listen to the Benjamin Friedman speech, and you'll understand that Hitler was pretty nice to the Jews after what the Jews did to Hitler.
I choose to stand up for truth.
I don't care about any of that. That's not why I'm making this video. I'm making this video because there are a couple things that she says that are obviously false.
The second thing I'd like for you to consider when listening to people on YouTube is this. Consider your source. There are people who have built their entire careers off talking trash about other people. And it's easier to do this on YouTube than it is on any other platform because you get paid for it.
That's why they'll hire people like Alex Jones to do only one thing to perpetuate this myth.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap. I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny. I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Turn the friggin' frogs gay. Serious crap. Gay. Frogs, friggin' frogs. It's not funny. I'm going to say it real slow for you. Gay. Frogs. Now, there it is, the gay bomb. Look it up for yourself. I mean, this is what they're... What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
What do you think tap water is? It's a gay bomb, baby.
Because Alex Jones is guilty of failing the Hitler test. Every show he does, he's putting out good information, he does good interviews, but then, what does he do? Slams Hitler every time, every show. Nazis Hitler, Nazis Hitler, Nazis Hitler, Nazis Hitler. Reinforcing this belief that these people are the epitome of evil.
I choose not to support people who behave immaturely in that way. They literally wake up every morning looking for drama to feed off of and search for people to make videos about. And when they find one person to make videos about that always gets them good clicks, they'll continue to keep making videos about that person because it's a guaranteed moneymaker for them. Don't just hear the words they speak, but also evaluate the person who's saying it. Go check out their other videos and titles. Are they bashing or talking about other people on their channel? Is their channel all about reviewing other YouTubers? Use your discernment when listening to some of the things that people say and note the source.
Anybody who uses Hitler and Nazis as the epitome for evil on a repeated basis like that is obviously a shill and is part of controlled opposition. And this is how controlled opposition works. They'll tell you 100 things or 1,000 things that are true just to get you to believe in the one lie that is crucial to them.
Don't just hear the words they speak, but also evaluate the person who's saying it.
You guys should know this about me by now. You know I'm not an idiot. You know I put together some good information.
Go check out their other videos and titles. Are they bashing or talking about other people on their channel? Is their channel all about reviewing other YouTubers? Use your discernment when listening to some of the things that people say and note the source.
21st century fascism is an internally incoherent and self-contradictory assemblage of parts held together by ligatures of necessary ignorance, wishful thinking, belief. Without necessarily realizing it, websites like Alex Jones, websites like the Zeitgeist Movement, and numerous YouTube channels that do not think of themselves as neo-Nazis are in fact inculcating people with neo-Nazi beliefs. Whether we are describing the audience for Alex Jones, or the audience for the Zeitgeist Movement, or the audience for FullyRawKristina, or the whole panoply of half-crazy raw vegan health advocates on YouTube, we're describing an audience that is conditioned to be afraid to drink the water that comes out of the tap in their kitchen. Why? Why are they afraid to drink the water that comes out of the tap? Because they're afraid of the government. And if you try to prove to them that the water that comes out of their tap is completely safe to drink, they won't believe you because they've been conditioned to be afraid of science. They're afraid of what's taught in the science textbooks in high schools because they believe that is a government conspiracy also. Step by step, in this way, the audience comes to adopt a worldview that modernity, especially modern economics, especially modern banking, modern fiat currency, is all an evil conspiracy, that everything they've been taught, including and especially about the tap water, their diet, hospitals, exists just to serve this conspiracy. And what do they contrast to that positively? This is very telling in terms of how profoundly incoherent and internally self-contradictory this 21st century neo-Nazi movement is, it doesn't matter to them very much whether their adherents have a glorified notion of ancient Hindu society or ancient Buddhist society or ancient Nordic society. Odin, Thor, it's all good. And why? Because they're united by what they fear. They're united by what they hate, what they distrust. What binds them together absurdly is their shared ignorance and their sense of being self-righteous in maintaining that ignorance despite the readily available evidence all around them. And so in this way, they can all get along with each other and cooperate, whether they are, for example, followers of Julius Evola, who are basically Nazis but who believe in Buddhism, way more popular than you might think, or if they're pro-Christian, Bible Belt Nazis, for lack of a better word, people who still believe in Jesus, in some ways don't get along with the Buddhists, don't get along with the people who want to revive the belief in Odin and the Norse gods, but, what they all believe in is that they have to keep themselves pure. They have to keep themselves separate from the contamination of knowledge that's offered at libraries, at bookstores, at universities, the whole real world of science, the reality of economics, the reality of politics, the reality of government. That they have to keep themselves assiduously separate from at all times, reassuring themselves that through their faith, through their belief, through their pious ignorance, they make themselves better than all the unbelievers who go to university and actually study to become a medical doctor, go to university and study to become an economist, all the people who seemingly and actually understand how the world works, those are precisely the people they have to look down on or they have to demonize as mere pawns in this greater conspiracy. Ultimately, what people like FullyRawKristina and John Rose are selling is a view of the world that pits those who know against those who refuse to know, those who study, those who learn, those who are skeptical, against those who are forever digging themselves deeper into a fundamentally anti-modern, anti-rational worldview, to which anti-Semitism and racism become the kind of inevitable but unnecessary ornaments.
Maybe we can practice. We can talk show together.